Tonight, the world watches as Iran and Israel teeter on the brink, fighter jets, missiles, and civilian lives on the edge of all-out war. In the past 24 hours, sirens screamed across Tel Aviv. Dozens were killed in the hospitals, even the war's biggest shield, the Iron Dome, cracked under hyper-aggressive missile waves. Now Iran has responded with salvos of UAVs and ballistic strikes toward Beersheba, Jerusalem, and Tehran is already grappling with major sections of the city being evacuated. On June 20, 2025, Israel initiated a preemptive strike against suspected Iranian nuclear facilities near Natanz, Isfahan, and military R&D complexes in Tehran. This came hours after a Mossad tip warned of an imminent uranium enrichment breakthrough by Iran's IRGC. Less than 8 hours later, Iran retaliated with a massive wave of over 170 drones, 60 cruise missiles, and a dozen ballistic hypersonic-class weapons. Air raid sirens rang through Tel Aviv, Beersheba, and Haifa, with over 20 confirmed deaths, including civilians and paramedics. Multiple strikes overwhelmed the Iron Dome, leading to a direct hit on Soroka Medical Center in southern Israel. Emergency responders described it as a scene straight from a war film. Israel's much-touted multi-layer air defense system, Iron Dome, David's Sling, and Arrow 3, was pushed to its limit. Of the 170-plus drones and cruise missiles launched by Iran, estimates suggest 85 to 90% were intercepted, but the remaining few caused catastrophic damage, not because of volume, but because of speed and unpredictability. The biggest surprise: Iran's use of maneuverable hypersonic glide vehicles, flying under radar coverage, making standard intercepts nearly impossible. A senior IDF official admitted, "We weren't ready for this level of missile agility. The rules of engagement have changed." Israeli air defense forces are now reportedly requesting emergency Tamir interceptor resupplies from the U.S., with Arrow for testing accelerated for deployment by Q3. But behind the sirens and missiles lies the real cost: human lives and broken cities. In southern Israel, a school was destroyed in Rehovot during morning hours. 3 children under age 10 were pulled from rubble. Only one survived. In Tehran, a suspected Israeli airstrike on a munitions depot ignited fuel tanks, causing a secondary explosion that killed at least 42, most of them civilians in nearby residential blocks. Over 30,000 Iranians have begun evacuating urban areas, fearing further strikes. In Tel Aviv, volunteers form human chains to rescue trapped neighbors. And in the morgue of Beersheba, a nurse whispered, "We're no longer counting missiles. We're counting names." The world watches and worries. The United Nations Security Council convened an emergency session, but Russia blocked a resolution condemning Iran. The U.S. issued stark warnings. Any attack on its bases in the region would result in direct military response. B-2 Spirit stealth bombers have been repositioned to Guam, and the USS Eisenhower carrier group is now in the Persian Gulf. Meanwhile, Hezbollah has begun mobilizing forces near the Lebanon-Israel border. Iran has urged its allies not to escalate. Yet, several Gulf states, including Saudi Arabia and the UAE, have raised their military alert level, with airspace partially closed. As missiles fall and civilians run, the world stands on a knife's edge. What happens next could reshape the Middle East, or ignite something far worse. Scenario 1: escalation into full regional war. If Hezbollah joins the fray, or if Iran targets U.S. assets in Iraq or Syria, Israel may invoke mutual defense clauses with Western allies. This could trigger a regional war involving Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and possibly U.S. and Gulf states. Analysts warn of a wider missile exchange, with Iran's proxies launching across multiple fronts. Scenario 2: ceasefire through back channels. Despite fiery rhetoric, diplomacy hasn't vanished. Oman, Turkey, and Qatar are quietly mediating. Iran's leadership is under internal pressure after civilian losses, and Israel, though militarily superior, knows prolonged war comes with unpredictable costs. There is hope for a temporary ceasefire. Not peace, but a pause. Scenario 3. Cyber and intelligence war. Even if the missiles stop, a silent war will likely continue through cyber sabotage, proxy militias, AI surveillance, and nuclear espionage. In the end, no defense system is perfect. No missile is smart enough to tell friend from child. The Iron Dome may break, but so does trust. So does the human spirit, unless we protect it. This isn't just a story of war. It's a call to remember what war forgets.